Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We're in front of my 2022 Subaru WRX, and in this video I wanted to talk about a possible problem with this car and something all of us VB WRX owners might face in our ownership of this car. We're going to jump into the car and I'm going to show you it's a problem with the interior, and it's kind of like a caution to all potential owners or current owners. I think it could be potentially a big problem in a short period of time here. It's just something I'm starting to explore myself. Let's hop into the car and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, so we're inside the car and there is a potential problem that I've noticed with this car. It's an interior feature of the car, which I think it looks good. I think it's potentially going to cause problems. So this is kind of a caution. It's a video about some care. I don't necessarily know that this is going to be a problem yet, but coming from the automotive industry and working with this material itself, we potentially have a problem. So let me show you. So if you're looking at your car right here, there's been an interior feature in this car, right? I'm sitting in the driver's seat that is added to make this car look good. And let me show you. Look. So if you look at the steering wheel here, we have a carbon fiber material here. This is not just a hard plastic. This is actually like a perforated carbon fiber material. It also exists on the door here, right here. And it exists on that door right there. Now you might ask yourself, this stuff looks great, what's the problem? Well, after years and years and years in the automotive space working with wrap, different types of carbon fiber products, I actually make products with this kind of material on it. This kind of material doesn't hold up well over time. Let me flip the camera around for a second. The problem is that I've worked with this type of material, and it may not be the same exact material, but I've worked with many, many different manufacturers trying to self-correct this problem in the get-go. This carbon fiber material wrap, material, let's say, doesn't hold up very well to wear, first off, and UV rays coming from sunlight, second off. So let's talk about wear for a second. First and foremost, you cannot use any type of cleaning products that are going to dissolve the adhesive between the threads of the material itself, because it actually has open threads. I haven't actually tried to take it off yet, because I know that once I start taking it off, I won't be able to put it back on, and it's just, I don't want to go that route. But what I am going to try to do and get my hands on is either erect one of these cars at a junkyard or somebody that has damaged one, so I can kind of pick and peel and see what's going on. But the reality is you can't use any products on these, so don't use any interior cleaners directly on this. Just wipe it down with, don't even use isopropyl alcohol. Just wipe it down with a little bit of a wet rag, wet paper towel. Stuff will get ingrained in the sides, and it will start to fail if you get a cleaner between those threads. It's impossible to get out. The other thing is high touch surfaces. You don't want to put a lot of touch on these surfaces, because the way that this stuff is made is the adhesive goes onto the back of it when it's stuck on. But what ends up happening is the adhesive doesn't touch the little fringe pieces of each square that bleeds over and creates kind of the spider web. It's not full carbon fiber. It's just how the underlying material is made most of the time. And even then, sometimes if it's super cheap, there's a thick padding underneath, like the base layer of the actual adhesive that goes down. Even if that's the case, it doesn't cover each entire square, and it's kind of like a spider web of squares. And what ends up happening is you have a very, very, very small edge around each square of the carbon fiber piece, where again, it creates like the mold, and they mold together, that doesn't have adhesive. And if you wear on that quite a lot, it'll actually start peeling up, and this will look really, really, really bad. The other thing, and what you can see, is around the edges, this has obviously been wrapped, because you can see the stretch around the edges. It's probably wrapped by a machine, and that's fine, and it's probably a great quality product. But I do know that this type of product and this type of wrap, regardless of the brand that they use, regardless of the material, just by the adhesive itself, doesn't hold up really well to direct sunlight for long periods of time. Now, is it going to go bad in a year or two? Probably not. But at the 3 or 4 year mark, if you're constantly parked in the sun or have a lot of UV exposure and a lot of heat in your car, if you're a warmer climate, you could potentially have issues long term. So, while I think this looks great, and I haven't necessarily seen it failing yet, as somebody that has seen this fail in other cars, other years, other platforms, aftermarket products, all that kind of thing, I'm wary. This video is a cautionary video to anyone that owns these cars. Just know that it is something to think about as you're doing some interior care with the car. You need to plan for this and make sure you're taking care of these wraps correctly so that you don't hurt yourself long term. And as somebody that's had another platform that didn't have a carbon fiber wrap, but had like a metallic gloss wrap on steering wheel parts and handle parts and anything tactile. Specifically, I had a Genesis Coupe, a 2010, where all that failed. And literally every handhold thing that was like chrome had like this like wrap on it instead of truly being like a chrome piece. and it failed on those cars at like 4 or 5 years, on every single one pretty much. And if you got into them, and even if you get into a Gen 1 Genesis Coupe, and you look at the door handles, the steering wheel, trim on the shift knob, trim on the parking brake, all this stuff is going to be peeling, and it's just because that happened. And not saying that that's going to happen here. I'm just saying that when it does go wrong, it can go wrong pretty poorly, pretty bad, and it's not good. So just cautionary. Make sure you're taking care of that. Don't use high abrasive cleaners or anything like that. Not that it's a place that you would necessarily do that. And just be careful not to damage it in the long run. And you should be fine, but just cautionary, something to think about.